If you're looking for reasons not to text them, take a walk with me. Let's face it, you're doing too much, you're chasing, and you're feeling yourself slip away from yourself. You're in people-pleasing, anxious mode just so you can get the validation and connection that you deeply desire. You have to remember that texting is not a sign of like or love, and that most people are responding from the bathroom, which means not a lot of thought is going into it, and we all know how you love those 1 and 2 word answers. This is why you hear me say that you will text yourself right out of a potentially great relationship. You have a need for constant communication and connection so that you can feel safe and secure in that relationship. This happens a lot for people who identify with having an anxious attachment style. For you, constant contact through texting is a way to get your needs met in this moment. You have to remember that a text is just a text. And no matter how hard you try, you don't live inside of someone else's head. So there's really no way for you to know what they're thinking or feeling. Another problem that you run into is when you don't have enough information, you fill it in with other information, with past experiences with other people, worst case scenarios. And when somebody doesn't text you back right away, it's really easy to get to this place of fear, anger, and resentment. You have an expectation that they're supposed to respond right away or within a given time frame. And this is where you see those memes where the boyfriend falls asleep and then he wakes up a couple hours later and his phone has been blown up. It starts with a simple text message of, "Hey, what are you up to?" And 2 hours later, it turns into, "Enjoy your time with whoever you're with." And here's the real kicker. That other person that you're dealing with, they might actually have a secure attachment. And communication for them looks very different than it does for you. But because of your insecure attachment, you're sitting there going, no, they have to be an avoidant. And you'll label them an avoidant because their behavior doesn't make sense to your nervous system. Regardless of your attachment, your communication style can overwhelm others. They just can't keep up with your pace. And people will try in the beginning because it's new, especially the avoidant. But very quickly it turns into that they just don't have time to think. And rationally thinking, you know that they're busy. They're at work, they're on a job site, or they're working on a project. And this is a really good place for a self-check-in. So before you send that text, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What exactly do I need in this moment? If you have feelings of anxiousness, why? Where in the body are you feeling this feeling? Then ask yourself, how can I meet this need for myself in this moment? Remember, you are responsible for you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And yes, we are wired for connection. But these connections are meant to enhance our lives, not detract from it. This is where you often hear me talk about using the language of a shared mission and vision. And I'm not saying don't ever text. When you feel anxious, fearful, or you go down the road of worst case scenarios, stop, take a breath, and tell yourself, we're not thinking those thoughts today. Then journal on that and remind yourself of all the evidence you have for the love that is in this relationship. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh no, I'm always right. And I definitely want you to be able to tap into your intuition and know when something isn't right for you. But if you're having the same experiences over and over again, or you say all I ever date are avoidance, then you have to consider that you're the common denominator in all of your life's problems. And those patterns of I knew it and I got you turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. You may find yourself creating the same problems, same issues, same concerns, and same circumstances over and over again, trying to resolve something that's inside of you. This is also where the phrase, if they wanted to, they would, comes in. But that statement gives your power away completely to the other person. So if they wanted to, they would, but have you considered that maybe they don't know how? That statement is often rooted in an expectation that you have that isn't being met. And the question becomes, did you express that expectation or desire to them? And if you express that, and they stated they understood, and then there's no change, that's where you take your power back, you set a boundary, and you let them know, this doesn't work for me. And maybe the consequence of that is you leaving the relationship. Cool. But then you actually have to follow up on that. And then this is where people like to say, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Cool. You should probably write down all the things that you tolerate and then work on coming up with a plan on how to navigate each one of those things.